only way I get there. I drive the same way. I drive the same. I did not hang up on you.
All right. So we are live on YouTube with Susan Michel, Surrender to Joy. Welcome, Susan. The mic is all yours.
Hi, this is Susan Michel. I am here in Western Massachusetts, and it is great to be here as always. I am the author of Surrender to Joy, From Suicide to Serenity. It is based on the transformational truth of A Course in Miracles, which I have been.
That's okay. Don't worry about it.
Oh, okay. It is based on A Course in Miracles, which I have been studying now for 33 years. And A Course in Miracles is truly my GPS, my path to true peace, love, joy, and happiness. When I adhere to the principles of A Course in Miracles, I feel so good. And when I don't, when I become disconnected, I don't feel so good. This earth is a classroom, and I am learning the lessons that my soul needs to learn to grow closer to God, to the truth of who and what I am. I mean, God is this place of unconditional love that exists within the core of each and every one of us. And that connection to Him is available to us at each and every moment. A Course in Miracles doesn't claim to teach us the meaning of love, because love is who and what we are. A Course in Miracles can only point out the blocks to love. So when the blocks arise, we can identify them, give them to the Holy Spirit, and allow healing to occur. So it doesn't have to be a process. A Course in Miracles is simple. It's not easy because it's not what the world teaches. It's not what we grew up learning, but it is simple. I mean, the truth is very simple. I mean, I always end my talks with this phrase: nothing real can be threatened, nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. I mean, love is the essence of who and what we are, and it's a very simple truth. Um, I will start out my talk with the first chapter, the first paragraph in the introduction of my book. What I write is my passion is God. God is love and joy and beauty. He is all that is good in the world. Everything else is our own miscreation. When we are filled with joy, we are connected to God. When we are not joyful, we have lost our connection to all that is real. This is my message. It can be clarified with 3 simple words: surrender to joy. There is nothing to find. All we need to do is surrender. And that paragraph was downloaded to me about 7 years ago. I believe that it was downloaded to me from a higher source. And what it is teaching, it's teaching that we cannot look to the world for our peace, love, joy, and happiness, because there is no world. The world is nothing more than an external reflection of an internal condition. I was listening to the preface of A Course in Miracles again today on Audible. And it's so interesting because I've listened to the preface so many times. I've read the preface so many times, but every time I listen to it, it just makes more and more sense. It's like it's teaching that we're not really seeing what is outside of ourselves. We're seeing the thoughts, feelings, and emotions that are percolating. I'm wondering if that's the right word, that we are the thoughts, feelings, and emotions that we are experiencing on an internal level. And then that's just what's being reflected back to us by the external world. So I've also been skimming through the text to a lot of my highlighted paragraphs. And I have had the same Course in Miracles text now for, gosh, I think 33 years since I started studying it. And what I have highlighted here, which kind of jumped out at me today, it's in chapter 29 and Roman numeral 7. It says, "Seek not outside yourself, for it will fail, and you will weep each time an idol falls. Heaven cannot be found where it is not, and there can be no peace excepting there. Each idol that you worship when God calls will never answer in his place. There is no other answer you can substitute and find the happiness his answer brings. Seek not outside yourself, for all your pain comes simply from a futile search for what you want, insisting where it must be found." So whenever we are feeling a lack and we start looking to the world to satisfy that lack, it never, ever works, is what the Course tells us throughout the text. And it's hard not to try to rearrange the pieces of our life on the outside when we feel like something is missing. You know, it's hard to realize that what we're really yearning for is something on the inside. So instead of looking to the outside world to satisfy us, we need to turn within and realize that source energy is what we are really craving. So instead of, the world tells us to move faster, start doing more, start working harder, make more money, lose the weight, find a more perfect partner. The world is constantly bombarding us with advertisements and telling us that if only we do more, we are going to feel better about ourselves. And A Course in Miracles is telling us the exact opposite. A Course in Miracles is telling us what we're really craving is a connection with ourself with a capital S. The world is telling us to move faster and do more. A Course in Miracles is telling us to slow down and do less. You know, that famous line that I've heard numerous Course in Miracles students slash teachers recite over and over: I need do nothing. It's about slowing down, being still, and allowing God to guide us. It's so interesting as I'm speaking now. I I realize what I do right and what I do wrong. I mean, there is no right, there is no wrong, there is no good, there is no bad. I think that came up in my last talk with my good friend Myrna. But I do know when I side with my ego and I try to do more, be better, and I start running around like a crazy person, I don't feel so good. But when I connect with my spirit, the Holy Spirit, my true self, my inner guidance, the Christ within me, I just feel so much better when I allow God to direct my life. So it's just so interesting how that works. I found a new online Course in Miracles teacher that I've been listening to lately, and his name is Keith. He has this YouTube channel. It's called A Course in Miracles with Keith. And he's English. He has an English accent, so he might be speaking from England. But I learned so much from all the Course in Miracles teachers and all the Course in Miracles students, because they all have their own words of wisdom, And what I heard him speak about this week is he said that he thinks that some Course in Miracles students take ACIM too seriously. Actually, he first asked this question. He said, should we take A Course in Miracles seriously? He said. And my answer without thinking was, well, of course we should. A Course in Miracles is the most important thing in my life. It's the only thing that's ever really made sense to me. So I expected him to say, yes, we should take A Course in Miracles extremely seriously. But his answer was the opposite. The answer was, no, we should not take the Course in Miracles too seriously, because the only part of us that takes the Course in Miracles so seriously and doesn't want to get anything wrong is the ego. The ego loves to excel at everything it does, and I know that I guess for me, a lot of times my ego likes to tout myself as a long-term Course in Miracles student. He says, but we don't need to take it that seriously, when we can kind of let go and release our need to be perfect about our studies. That's when we can really absorb the information that Christ is teaching us. I do know that the Course in Miracles says that the separation occurs when the Son of God forgot to laugh. It occurred when we forgot to laugh, when we started taking things too seriously, and the separation occurred when we forgot to laugh. So it's really important to maintain a joyful spirit about everything in life. I know that's easier said than done. At least for me, it is. But I think that when we can take things a little lighter is when we can allow God to guide us. It's also easier to absorb information when we take it lightly and we don't get stressed out about things, you know. What I made a few notes here. I said, our true self knows that it, A Course in Miracles, is just reminding us of the truth that exists inside all of us. It is not the end of our learning. It is leading us to our internal teacher, so our true learning can really begin. And another important piece of information that I was learning, being reminded of again from my new Course in Miracles colleague that I've been listening to, Keith. He spoke in depth about present moment awareness, and Eckhart Tolle, who actually teaches that very often. Because A Course in Miracles is teaching us that the only time that we can really hear God is in the eternal present. It does us no good to focus on the past. I mean, that does us no good at all because the past is over. It does us no good to project onto the future because the future hasn't happened yet. So the only time that we can really hear God is in the now. It's about being fully connected to the present moment. And then I went to my bookshelf and I found this really cool book by Eckhart Tolle, the author of The Power of Now. And the title of this book is Stillness Speak. And what he has in this book is he has different excerpts about how important it is to connect to the present moment completely. So, and it was funny too. I was looking back on this. A friend gave me this book in 2008. So quite a number of years ago, 8, 18, 19, 20, 22, 15 years ago. Interesting. And I have certain sentences highlighted here, the ones that kind of jumped out to me. And what I have highlighted here is I have, whenever you deeply accept this moment as it is, no matter what form it takes, you are at peace. And it's just so true to be fully connected to the moment right here, right now, is how we can stop that incessant chit chat of our egoic mind. You know, I was to just give a little analogy here. At the end of my run today, I was just sitting on a log at the reservoir in Holyoke, and I was looking out onto the water. I was kind of sitting in the forest, and it was a very beautiful moment because I was just completely present in the now. So whenever we can just accept the moment as it is, we can feel the stillness of God, whom we are all part of. And it can be easier when we are in front of a beautiful scene, you know, whatever that scene might be. This morning I was in nature, so everything was very still. I was looking at the water, so it was a very beautiful visual that I was seeing. But it can also be in the midst of a lot of chaos that we can connect to that peace that we all have within us because it's always there. It's always there. And as I talk about it, I feel it. And it's really beautiful because there is nothing lacking. There is nothing that I need outside of myself. I'm completely fine exactly as I am. I mean, that's the place that everyone is craving. And again, in order to find that place, it's not about doing more, it's not about being more, it's not about having more. It's just accepting ourselves exactly as we are, accepting our circumstances exactly as they are, knowing that I am enough, you know, remembering, it's about remembering who we truly are. Um, and then some other highlighted uh, paragraphs or sentences that I have highlighted in Eckhart Tolle's book are, do you need more knowledge? You know, that's a good one, right? Because especially the Course in Miracles students are always craving more knowledge. Is it more information? Is more information going to save the world, or faster computers, more scientific or intellectual analysis? Is it not wisdom that humanity needs most at this time? Wisdom to know that I'm enough, wisdom to know that everything that I need is already inside of me. But what is wisdom and where is it to be found? Wisdom comes with the ability to be still. Why? Because we can't hear God unless we are still. We can't hear God when our egoic mind is constantly chattering. In order to hear God's wisdom, which is my higher wisdom. I mean, yes, God is more than me. God is greater than me. But that wisdom is always available to me. But in order to hear him with a capital H, I need to still my egoic mind. Wisdom comes with the ability to be still. Just look and just listen. No more is needed. Being still, looking, and listening activates the non-conceptual intelligence within you. Let stillness direct your words and actions. You know, I think I'm going to start reading through this book again, because as I read these words, it's so wise. You know, it's so wise what it's telling me. And I know sometimes when I can slow down and accept the peace of God, there are physical symptoms that dissipate. You know, sometimes I have different, I guess, physical stress symptoms that flare up. But I know that when I'm still and I'm really centered in who and what I truly am, these symptoms will dissipate. My husband and I wanted to bring this up. We are big movie buffs. And our movie of the week is an old movie. It was a 2010 movie with Jake Gyllenhaal. I have a hard time pronouncing his name. Gyllenhaal, Gyl. I don't even know if I'm spelling it right. He's a big actor, Jake Gyllenhaal, and Anne Hathaway. I can pronounce her name pretty well. It's a 2010 movie, and the name of the movie is Love and Other Drugs. And she played a character that had Parkinson's disease. And he fell in love with her. And I thought that was an interesting concept. So my husband and I proceeded to watch the movie, and we both really loved it. And it was very A Course in Miracles centered, which I thought was very interesting, because what happened was Jake's character played this competitive man who loved money and who loved to have sex with different women. And he was extremely superficial, very ego oriented. And then he started dating Anne Hathaway's character, the one who had Parkinson's disease. And she saw the good in him. And because she was so focused on the good in him, he was able to feel the good in himself. And that's what allowed him, or that was the catalyst for him falling in love with her. And I thought about that because A Course in Miracles would term that charity. When we see someone else in a way that is far ahead of what they have accomplished in time. So I went to acourseinmiraclesnow.com and I put charity in the search bar, and it took me to chapter 2, the separation and the atonement. And what I found was charity is a way of looking at another as if he had already gone far beyond his actual accomplishments in time. Since his own thinking is faulty, he cannot see the atonement for himself, or he would have no need of charity. The charity that is accorded him is both an acknowledgement that he needs help and a recognition that he will accept it. Both of these perceptions clearly imply their dependence on time, making it apparent that charity still lies within the limitations of this world. So charity is actually seeing the beauty and the Christ-like consciousness within another before they feel it within themselves, before they connect to it within themselves, but by focusing on the beauty within another, it can allow that other person to connect to the beauty within themselves. I think. All I know is that's what the movie reflected to me. And when we can live our life like that, I mean, I guess that's similar to what a miracle is, because a miracle is anything that's coming from love. And when we're seeing the beauty in another person, that allows us to feel the beauty within ourselves. It also allows the other person to connect to the beauty, to the peace, love, and joy within themselves. So, anyway, that was a takeaway that I got from this great movie, Love and Other Drugs. Uh, anyway, on that note, it is just about 1:30, and I end with those 3 lines from the introduction of A Course in Miracles. Nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. And what that means is the only thing that's real is the love. And thank God for that. So thank you so much for being here with me today. I love you all. And I will now return the microphone to Lynn.
Thank you so much, Susan Michel. I'm so grateful for you and your sharing every week, twice a week on Mondays and Fridays, and sometimes with guests. So it's always wonderful.